Right, table leg 4, as I said before, it's circles of influence and energy. So we're going to be looking at what can you control, what can't you God, if I could put my teeth in and talk this morning, it'd be good, wouldn't it? What can you control, what can't you control, and what can you influence, and where's best to use your energy? So I'm going to start off with some questions, as always. Who has got really frustrated, annoyed when you book a day off to go to the beach and it rains?
Yeah.
Yep. Who has got really annoyed, frustrated, upset, stressed, worried when you've got an important job interview and either your train's delayed and you're running late or you get stuck in a traffic jam? Yep. Who gets annoyed, frustrated, upset, stressed out by someone else's behaviour? Who gets annoyed, upset, worried, stressed, anxious about the past? Yep, we all do, don't we? But the really important thing to start looking at with all of those things, what things have we actually got any control over, and where's it worth putting our energy into attaching emotions to them? So if we take the first one, you book a day off, you're going to the beach and it's raining. Is that under your control? Can you influence it? Is it out of your control?
Out of your control.
Is it really?
We can influence not going to the beach and doing somewhere else instead.
Yeah. Or you could look at the weather forecast and see if you could rearrange your day off. You might not be able to. So the weather is definitely out of your control, 100%. Yeah. But the fact that you're getting really annoyed, I nearly said it, you're getting really annoyed because it's your day off. You could have looked previously, seen if you could change a day off, change where you're going to go, so still have a nice day off. Yeah. So if we kind of, I'll put these. What about going for that job interview, train delayed, traffic? Where's it going?
Train delay is out of control.
But
Yeah.
you could have control because you could leave earlier.
Yeah.
So we're going back here. Right, you can influence it. Your responsibility to check the trains beforehand, to check if you're driving, is there any hold-ups before you set up? Sat-navs are a wonderful thing where they give you the fastest route, aren't they? So if there is So it's one of those where if you're going along the motorway and there's a crash right in front of you or an accident and you are stuck in a traffic jam for an hour, that's out of your control, isn't it? But you can influence it by checking the travel, checking the trains before you go. So we'll put public transport. I always say that's kind of like public transport sort of sits almost in this bit here. Probably should have written it in there. Because it's like we say, you can influence it, but ultimately it's out of your control. But you can still do a lot to stop you from wasting a lot of energy getting frustrated, worried, anxious about it. What about other people's behaviour?
That's out of your control.
Yeah. You can influence it.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is another one that sits here really, isn't it? You can influence it. So I always say, we're going canoeing today, right? It's a really shit activity. Weather's could be better. You know I'm lying now, don't you? But we've got really crap instructors. Really crap instructors. And like the boats are pretty dodgy. There's a few holes, so we might sink. And I just find it all a bit of an effort. I'm not quite sure why we're doing it. Right? It's ultimately up to you whether you let my behaviour affect you, but I am going to influence you. If I stand here and go, and this is what I believe, we are going to have the best day, the sun is shining, I don't believe this bit, we've got the best instructors, like the boats are amazing, they're going to be like lightning across Windermere, like there is the most amazing coffee shop, the ice creams are even better, and the cake, and the dogs aren't going to bark at the ducks at all, and it's going to be amazing, right? I influence you, but ultimately it's up to you how you choose to react to what I'm saying. So other people's behaviour is out of our control, ultimately. Same as we've talked about this yesterday, your behaviour is ultimately out of other people's control, but we can be influenced by other people as well. So we'll stick it in here, yeah? Here's the good one. What about the past? Yeah, we can't change the past, can we? We can do something about how it impacts on us, but we absolutely 100% cannot change the past. However, no, I'll come to this later. So let's look at, we're getting quite a bit in here, we're getting some stuff in here. What about what we eat, food?
It's in our control.
Is it? Can you, if you wanted to have smoked salmon and caviar every day this week, could you have it?
No, not different.
So, if you, during lockdown, you want to go and live on lettuces, but Morrison's are restricted to, you're only allowed to buy 2, can you live on lettuces? Lettuces? A lettuce. If you live in a drought-ridden country, can you go to the supermarket? So again, it's a really interesting one to explore. Ultimately, you are in control of what you put in your mouth, but it kind of falls in here. Yeah? What we're doing with this is a bit like the reframing yesterday. We're kind of getting the principle of just thinking about things and how much control we have over them. Exercise? Is it?
Same place as food.
Yeah. So it's back to, you want to go running every day, but you've just broken your leg. You might not be able to. Your habit is going to the gym every day, and then lockdown happens and you can't go to the gym. Absolutely, yes. So you can influence it. So it might not be completely, if you are paralysed from the neck down, that's quite difficult to influence. You can do some good jaw exercises, but that's about it. But, yes, like you have your boob chopped off. I couldn't do what I wanted to, but I could do something. So it's back to, it's here, yes. Ultimately, you can control trying to do something, but you don't have complete control over it, yeah? So, what we're going to find that goes in here?
What we think, what we feel.
The attitude.
Yeah, which is, so your attitude and your behaviour. That is actually the only thing we have 100% control of. Quite slight caveat on that, and I'm just interested to explore this as far as where does medication come in on that, or things like menopause. Because I used to think I was in control of my attitude, and then I hit menopause. That all changed. So what do you reckon?
I think it's a bit of what to eat.
Yeah, I've sort of thought about this a lot since the whole menopause journey, and since the changes I've made recently in managing my stress and my diet and my relaxation and my sleep and all that, I now feel back in control of my attitude and behaviour. I'd lost control of it definitely when I was letting menopause run the show, but I've taken control of the situation and I now feel a lot more in control. But I think it's just good, I'm all about being realistic. So if you're on a medication that, again, I'm not good on all of this, but you take a medication that makes you really drowsy, you want to be energetic and motivated, but the meds you're on stops you from being that. So I think it's just something to be aware of when we think of that, because what I wouldn't want is someone sitting there going, well, actually, I don't feel in control of my behaviour because of the meds I'm on, so let's address it, let's talk about it. And that, to me, is about doing what you can to minimise the impact of the meds. Make sense? Okay, so where's the best place to use your energy?
Things you can control.
Absolutely. Any point using energy here?
No.
Okay, so Would we all agree we've only got a limited amount of energy to use in a day? It's not an endless supply, is it? It runs out. So, think of this glass being all the energy that you've got. That's your daily dose of energy. Excuse me. If you use that much of your energy on things that are out of your control, that only leaves you with this much energy to put into things that you can control or influence. Think what you could achieve if you used all your energy on things that you can control. So when we're getting stressed out about the fact that it's raining and we want to go and have a nice day on the water and we're getting a bit narky and we're getting a bit upset, it's wasted energy. We may as well go flush it down the toilet. If we actually put that energy into thinking, right, I'm going to go get my waterproofs on, I'm going to put an extra layer in, and I'm going to get a good mental attitude, and I'm going to go and embrace that ambience of the rain. Massively impacts on our day, doesn't it? This, I want to say, saved me, that's a bit melodramatic, when I went through breast cancer. So I was getting lots of people trying to be lovely, ringing me, messaging me, knocking on the door, are you all right? Do you want anything? Can I do anything? But they were people that if I wasn't all right, I wouldn't tell anyway. You know, they weren't my close friends. And I was having to use so much energy on putting up there, yeah, I'm fine, thanks so much for asking, but I'm fine. And what I realised was I was leaving myself with nothing to put into my own recovery. So I made a conscious decision, and I'm coming back to that conscious decision, that I wasn't going to waste energy on kind of being nice to them and putting the front up, and I needed all my energy to focus on my recovery. So I ignored them all. And what I found was that my true friends would understand. You know, once I was better and I went back and I said, really sorry for ignoring you, but I was just focusing on getting myself better. The ones that were bothered by it, they probably weren't worth getting upset around anyway. That, because I was getting myself in a mess, because I was just using it all here, and I was knackered and I had an hour left for looking after me. Really powerful. Anyone's thoughts? Anyone's thinking, who uses a lot of energy on things that you can't change? Yeah. Not easy to go, oh, I'm not going to stress about this because, right, and this is where I think it's, there was a really important question I did when we were in lockdown. Important question someone asked, God, what is wrong with the brain this morning? We were during lockdown, we did online workshops, so doing this stuff so we could still kind of reach people when we couldn't run the programs. And someone said, so like when you have bad stuff that happens or upsetting stuff, like, is it good use of your energy to put some energy into processing that? 100%. This comes back to what we were saying yesterday about you can't have something upset. I lost my dog at Christmas. If you expected me to go, it's in the past now, you can't change it, like, don't waste any energy getting upset about it. That was not going to happen. For a period of time, I put probably most of my energy into getting upset about my dog. But the important thing to realise is not getting stuck using all that energy every day for a long period of time. So allow yourself some energy to process what you need to process, but then be aware that you're not using it all up and leaving yourself with nothing for moving forwards in life. And so hopefully over time you become more and more aware and you can start to use less on that. So I think that's where the past is a really important one, especially when you've been through something traumatic. And I've talked to a few of you about triggers. When you've had something traumatic happen, it is normal to be triggered by things. So for years, probably the rest of your life, there will be times that you need to put energy into the past and dealing with those triggers. But it's back to being aware of that you don't get stuck using it all, getting upset about something you can't change. I'm going to go into the how in a minute, but first of all, I just want to say, anyone got any thoughts?
I wish I'd known this about 2 years ago.
I said the same. Yeah. I'm thinking everyone's thinking something again.
No, I think it's a really good visual as well to be able to see, like,
Yeah.
obviously, we all.
Who's thinking I've used energy on things that is
Yeah.
wasted energy? Yeah. What would be a better place to put that energy? That's kind of a rhetorical question. Cool. So how? Right, makes sense, but not always easy. Yeah. I'm going to come back to the bit that I tapped into yesterday. So when you're finding you're getting your spotlight pulled into stressing about things that are out of your control, how do we start to manage that and get it back using our energy, shining our spotlight in a place that helps us move forwards? 3 A's. So your acknowledge is back to, I'll use losing my dog as the example. I'm upset. I'd had him for 19 years. He was my absolute soulmate. It is right to use some energy getting upset about losing my dog. So I'm going to acknowledge I'm upset right now, and it's okay to be upset, and it's okay to be using energy on that. Then I need to get to the point that I'm accepting, but I can't change it. I can't bring him back. So getting stuck, being upset, isn't going to achieve anything. The action, what am I going to do about it? Now, that could be a number of things, whether it's I'm focusing on these two. And Kip, because he was old, he took a lot of time. And, you know, I've said even here, I've got so much more time because I'm not looking after Kip in his old age. So I'm going to put more time into these two and their training. I might go and rescue another dog and give another. So then I shift my energy onto what am I going to do about it. Can anyone give me an example that they're thinking where that would work for them? I know it's hard on the spot.
Well, would my job come into this? So I was having a nightmare at work, and just recently I've had the courage to leave it.
Yep.
It's a big decision.
Yep. I think that's a really important one, right? So many people, whether it's a relationship, please don't all go and leave your partners on the back of this, but we have had it happen. But whether it be, you know, your relationship and your partner, a work, a home, you know, where you're living, and people have kind of gone, I'm miserable. I'm miserable in that job. I'm miserable in that house. I'm miserable in that relationship. And I've been spending all my time putting energy into how upset I am, like kind of whinging and moaning about it. But I mean that in like every day, I'm just like, oh, this is happening, and oh, they're doing that. And like all my energies go in there. So acknowledging that my job's shit. I'm not enjoying my job, whatever it might be. The accepting is, can you change what's going on in your work environment?
Absolutely not.
Cool. And I don't mean cool, it's not cool.
Yeah.
But that's the accept bit. Okay, I can't change my work environment. It could be that you could have done. So the action then becomes like, right, and we've had people do this as well. I'm going to go back and speak to my boss and ask if I can move to a different department. I'm going to go and speak to that person and tell them that they're really upsetting me by their behaviour. So that's the bit where if you'd answered yes, it's a different kind of action, isn't it? If you're answering no, then your choice is what action you take. Do I learn how to manage myself in that job and suck it up so it's not causing me to waste all of my energy getting upset about it? Or do I make the choice to put my energy into a new job? And that's the action you've taken. Yeah. George.
You didn't specifically say this, but it's just to take up like my understanding of it. Energy spent correctly can come back tenfold. So if you do spend your energy on something you enjoy or that's positive for you, you'll have a lot more to do in the future.
Love it. I'm going to expand on that a little bit, George, because I'm going to go back to my pint glasses, right? So you're feeling a bit knackered. So if I had a third pint glass, I'd just tip some out now. So your energy levels are low. You go out and do what we did for 10 minutes, and it sort of feels like, right, let's I'll do it this way. So your energy levels, you're on like half a glass anyway, because you're just a bit knackered, a bit low. So you're struggling with energy. You go and do something fun for 10 minutes, just tops it back up a bit, doesn't it? Like you go and do something else fun, or you stop stressing because you know that you're stressing about something that's out of your control. So actually, if we eat healthily, you know, you go and have a coffee with friends, or, you know, that's recharging your glass back up again. So completely. Then that's the importance in that fun and doing things we enjoy. It's to balance things back up again. So yeah, awesome. Nice one. Thanks, George. One thing I didn't say and I should have done, this isn't a set process. This. Sometimes you have to go to here before you can do this bit, because it's the action that helps you accept things. Sometimes, so I'll use the example of people with PTSD. So we had a guy on a programme who'd been in Northern Ireland, and a bomb had gone off, a car bomb had gone off. And so parked red cars really triggered him. So part of this was he'd see a parked red car, and his energy, like he would be putting a lot of energy into dealing with that response. But that's a case of every time that happened, we kind of go back here, acknowledging that response you're having now is justified because you've had something really traumatic happen. So then it's a case of accepting, yeah, I am going to respond like this to that car because of what happened. You know, the action is he learned how to manage when he was triggered like that, and that he needed to go and take himself off and distract himself and do this and that. So, but that was happening every time he saw a parked red car. So this isn't a, you do this, and then you're done. It's like a constant thing that we're using. Does that make sense? And again, you might not even manage this bit. You might go straight to this bit, you know, and then go back to, you can be to-ing and fro-ing between them, but it's being aware of the principle. Cool. Again, notice what you notice. You know, today, just start to practice. Where am I putting my energy? Like, am I putting it into the grumpiness because someone said something that's upset me? Or am I just going, I'm not going to put any energy into that, and I'm going to put my energy into paddling, which would be great. So now it's time for the task for table leg 4, energy, and the 3 A's. So now you're aware of how important it is to look after your energy and use it really wisely. Where do you think you've been using most of your energy, and has that been helping you? Can you think of any examples recently where it would have been good to apply the 3 A's? Write them down. What do you need to acknowledge, accept, and what action could you take that would be good use of your energy?